But lads, the Gibbs-White debacle. Luba, I'll start with you, mate. How do you feel? What's going on? Break it down for me, mate. What happened there?
Break it down. I think a couple of things. I think firstly, had we met all the clauses to bring about the release, then and it was ironclad. There was no way that Forest would be taking Gibbs-White away with them. I think the other thing, I was having a chat with my pal Jeff this afternoon. Evening, Jeff. I know you're watching tonight. I think he made a good point. He made a good point. He said,
"Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. Hi, Jeff. Is Jeff your guy? Is Jeff your guy?
No, he's not. He's not.
Savra, I've got to tell you something. I've been speaking to my guy, and Messi's on his way. Honestly, my guy said, my guy.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that from Sean's guy?
No, your guy. Your guy.
We've almost got 800 people watching. Can everyone say hello to Jeff so he gets 800 hellos?
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. It's the Jeff, not the other Jeff.
Yeah, he'll be laughing.
Lead Jeff.
Jeff Ray. But anyway, he made a valid point. He said, "Where do you think the leaks come from? Maybe Forest have threatened Gibbs-White if the leak has come from him, and Gibbs-White has buckled and signed a new contract, which could be possible."
Well, I don't know if I'm going next or what.
Yeah, of course, Johnny. Yeah,
I mean, listen, look, for me, I think the whole thing was done incorrectly. What should have happened is they knew the lease, the clause. You go to the club and you say, right, I want to trigger the clause, and then you have the conversation. What we did, we tried to do the deal, arrange it all, agree it all, and then approach the club. Wrong way round, disrespectful. That said, Marinakis has got previous. He didn't get where he is today by being a lightweight in every sense of the word. That video was disturbing. Watching him stood on the sideline, intimidating presence, and the guy stood there, and Morgan Gibbs-White, yes, Mr. Marinakis.
Yeah.
Marinakis.
Like the Greek mafia. You know, like a Greek mafia video.
That's what he is. I was waiting for the tapping to go to, you know, when they go SOS, sending out an SOS. The rumor has it that they kidnap his dog. If anyone knows the whereabouts of Morgan Gibbs-White's dog, please DM us and let us know immediately. But I think, look, I think he's a weak individual, Morgan Gibbs-White. I'm going to say it, because had he truly wanted to leave, then he could have done what Gyökeres has done, or what Alexander Isak has done, or what many others have done, and said, look, I've played my last game. I want to go. I've given you 3 years of service. You're getting £60 million for me. But he didn't. Now, whether that was intimidation on his part and he buckled, or he's just weakness, because I don't believe that ultimately he'll look back at this in 2 or 3 years' time and say it was the right decision. You know, they've got Elliot Anderson there, who is going to be a fantastic number 6, and Morgan Gibbs-White and playing alongside him. They're going to be a good partnership, and they made a good signing again today, 40 million that Sean and I were talking about. But I still think he should have left. And who knows? I
disagree with you completely here, Johnny. I think that when I hear, it's what we've. When I hear people say, "I'll just hand in a transfer request," that a transfer request is great to hold it to hand in, as long as you know that there is a deal at the end of that transfer request for you to go to. I think the problem here is that there was nowhere for him to go. It wasn't, if it was his decision, he was coming for a medical, right? So he was coming for a medical on his agreed personal terms. So he was coming. Marinakis is the one that's not letting him move for whatever reason. And I'm sure there's bits that we don't all know about clauses being hit and all this. But it's the same conversation I had a while back with Danny. If anyone remembers, I had the conversation with Danny about, he was like, oh, when Man City came in for Harry Kane and they offered, 75 million at the time. Yeah. He said, oh, he should have handed in a transfer request. Cool. All right. So Harry Kane hands in a transfer request. but there's nowhere to go at the end of it because there's no bid that's been going to be accepted. So I get it that he might have been able to do more, but I think this is all to do with Marinakis and not a lot to do with the player. If I'm brutally honest,
a lot of pressure.
I don't think there was an exit for him.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you look at someone like Erling Haaland's move, okay, where someone let out that it was only £50 million, okay, that one sneaked out. It shouldn't have got. That was on an NDA. It came out. They said, well, you know, we don't want you to go. He said, I'm going. That's it. He made it.
Hang on, was that on an NDA? Because I remember when he signed for Dortmund, that everyone was saying the reason that he signed for Dortmund and not for one of the bigger clubs was because they were the only club at the time that would accept the clause.
Yeah, the clause is in there though, Sava. My point here is he just demanded he's going. It doesn't matter what you want, what you say, I'm going. And it isn't the last, it wasn't the first, and it will continue to happen. What I'm saying is we all know Marinakis is an intimidating guy. Before this even happened, Sean and I on Football Inc. had constantly discussed what Marinakis has been up to in other incidences, whether it be with John Textor with Crystal Palace, trying to throw them under the bus. Meanwhile, what was he doing? He was doing deals with John Textor, with Botafogo, signing his players to give him the money, with that money to then give him the money that he could transfer to Lyon to buy himself out of the being relegated, to then come back into the league, which then knocked out Crystal Palace and then objected to Crystal Palace being in the league, right? The guy is not clean, right? And I feel sorry in a way for Morgan Gibbs-White, but he's got to be stronger. If you want it that bad, you can make it happen.
Even if Marinakis isn't having any of it, though, Johnny.
Even if Marinakis threatens to...
I think that's a dangerous game to play, isn't it? Because now look at it from the human element. This is what I don't think we think, right? So I'm Morgan Gibbs-White. I hand in a transfer request. So now I've pissed off the board, the fans, and all my teammates.
Yeah.
If a move doesn't materialise because Marinakis is doing what Marinakis is doing, I'm now at Nottingham Forest. I've now got a year of boos from certain fans that can't get over it, trying to win the trust back of my teammates, right? I feel there's something's happened here, because if we triggered that release clause and it was that simple, right now, Daniel Levy or Vinay, whoever's running the club, depending on how Lubo feels on any given day, one of those two people, right, would be going to the Premier League right now and saying, hang on, we triggered a clause, please look into this. The fact that we've not done that tells me that there's something more to this, Johnny, than Spurs triggering it. I don't think we triggered it. Looking at this now, I don't think we did.
Well, you can't go that way round, is what I'm saying. Is, you know, it was disrespectful to Nottingham Forest. What you do is, you know, the clause is there, you approach the club and then you negotiate. What you don't do is negotiate with the player, agree it all, then say, well, come for the medical, and then say, right, we're going to do the deal now, we're triggering it. No, it's disrespectful. That's not how it works. And for the people in the chat that are going on, oh my God, that's not how you do it, hand in a notice. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying to you is you can play hardball. We've just seen with Gyökeres, with the Sporting Lisbon president. He's one of the hardest guys to deal with. He eventually worked his way out between the agent coming back on his fees. Gyökeres coming back.
Is it not possible, guys, that he didn't, he would have taken the move if the move materialized. He was like, yeah, okay, I'll go. But it wasn't like a dream move. And that people have got in his ear and said, it's relatively no different to a sideways step. And on top of that, there's the kind of Easter egg hunt here that's very easy to find, is a brand new contract to become the club's highest earner, probably earn an extra 40 grand a week, clauses removed. And then, as I believe, as Sava said, that if you go down the path of the transfer request, then you end up alienating yourself from the club. If it doesn't work out, you're a poison pill, right?
And Louis Saha revisited.
Whereas if you go the other path, and you sign the contract, and then you were the ones that won that battle, then Nottingham Forest fans, you're going to be sort of emblazoned in their mind as a champion forever. So I think that it was a win-win for Gibbs-White regardless. But I don't think if he wanted to, he could have pushed for it. But the fact that he didn't, I would imagine meant that he didn't really want it that much, like a Gyökeres did.
Sean, you always say facts, not opinions. Who knows for sure that the medical was arranged? Seriously,
no one.
That's right. Because if he hadn't have triggered, if Spurs haven't triggered the release clause, then why is he coming down for a medical?
Well, 100%. Look, when I say facts, not opinions, I'm talking about when we're sort of doing revisionism over the history of our club. When it comes to like breaking news, it's a moving target. Then obviously we're all just speculating with what's in the news, aren't we?
So it's a good point. You know, if there's no way he would have gone, he would have stayed at Forest if we've triggered the release clause. The other question is...
I think we've done something wrong, Lubo. I actually think in this occasion, I didn't for ages, and when I was bantering Wolfie and all that sort of stuff, but the fact that Spurs have not kicked up a fuss about this tells me that we have not done something right or there was something missing, because let's call it for what it is, right? Let's call this properly for what it is, Lubo, right? This is a player that has signed a new contract, but he signed a 1-year extension. This is not a 6-year deal he signed. His contract was ending in 2027. His new deal ends in 2028. If ever it screams that he's had a clause put in there or something along the lines of you can go if this club comes in, it's that, isn't it? 1-year extension. It's weird.
What sort of percentage increase have they given him for this contract?
I don't know.
Apparently double his wage. Apparently. Big word.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So right. If he's on 100 grand a week, that's 5 million. So for the 2 years, he's earned an extra 5 million each year, and he's got another 10 million to come. So he's made himself 20 million. He may have played everybody, Gibbs-White, to get that wage increase, that new contract.
Didn't look it. Maybe. Go on, Stel.
For me, I've got no idea what's happened. But there's multiple things that are going through my head on this. Part of me thinks that when we praised Daniel Levy for keeping Kane when he wanted out and Man City were offering, but Levy said, no, I want more than that. You know, fans said Levy's played a blinder. You don't mess with Levy. I think Marinakis has just done the same to Levy, maybe in a different process, but I think he's just Levy'd Levy. And rather than us just saying it for what it is, you know, Marinakis won the battle. Just give him the praise. We're trying to give angles of, oh, but, you know, this was done wrong, or Marinakis is a bully and all this stuff. So part of me thinks that. The other part of me thinks what Savas said, we've done something wrong. We've broken some kind of process or system rule that we're not allowed to. And Marinakis discussed it out and he's threatened legal action. And we thought, you know what, we need this. The other part of me thinks, you know, I don't think fans are going to like this, but what is the pull for Frank, right? I'm just looking at it from the manager perspective. He's not won anything. He's not won a damn thing in his life. He's renowned at keeping teams up or punching above his weights with the teams that he manages, given the financial resources he's given. But if you're Gibbs-White and you're thinking, right, I want to progress my career, is it Frank that I want to do that with? Maybe that's gone through his head. Has Frank got the pull factor? That's another thing that went through my head. And
did Frank have the pull factor for, just to support your point there, Phil, with Mbumo, right? He decided he wanted to go and play for Manchester United, who are nothing like the United that they used to be. He could have gone to Tottenham, European champions, Champions League, and played with his ex-boss.
We didn't bid for him.
But I think that was because he made it, well, again, who knows, but the stories were that essentially that we were very interested, but that he had made it clear from the day one that he only wanted United.
One thing I've noticed is when Spurs sign a manager, very rarely do the good players the manager previously coached ever come to the club. When Poch came to us, how come we didn't get who's the lad that went to who's the guy that went to Liverpool? What's his name?
Mane. We know why Mane. We know why Mane didn't come.
Right, no.
We're paying the wages.
The point. Well, yeah, it could be the wages, but even when Conte came, no top players from Inter came. When we got Mourinho, none of his ex-top players came.
So it's a Tottenham problem, not a Frank problem, is what you're saying.
Perisic came though, didn't he?
Sam, it could be a fact that we don't want to pay the wages, or we don't want to pay above the odds to guarantee getting the play. It could be that, but I look at it from the Levy perspective, the Frank perspective. Maybe Gibbs-White just thought, you know what, actually, maybe it is a sideways step. The one thing I know, though, whatever's happened, where I'm at with it is this: we as fans are getting our pants pulled down again. Right, the club does it every time, and they're doing it again. And this is why I went off on one for the last month. We get Vinay, the new, the man's come in to take over from Donna Cullen. He's great with the fans. Charrington's come in. This big cash injection's coming into the club. The Bill Nicholson gates, guys. The Bill Nicholson gates are back. Are you excited? We've got our gates back. At the end of the day, all I want is a
fan. Can the Bill Nicholson gates play left wing?
Can they play left foot? All I want is a fan.
Next to Beyonce.
I just want to see Levy.
Anything.
I just want to see Levy, the board, Enoch, just have a summer where you sign good players for the key positions we need it, and then we can properly assess the manager because he's been given tools to actually work with. And we are on course yet again to provide another manager with substandard players, and we're going to expect miracles from him. So I'm looking at the board on this because regardless of us not getting Gibbs-White, we've fluffed about with this for 3 weeks. Get your next target in.
Yeah.
You know, get the next player in. We're now into pre-season. We've gone overseas. The squad's not ready for the new season. We've got PSG in the Super Cup coming up. Who have we signed really for the first team that wasn't here last year? Kudos.
Mom.
Yeah, let me ask this, guys, then. So we've still got a part of this segment left before we move into the second segment. The next question, then, if the Gibbs-White story is done, we can certainly analyse Daniel Levy and the ownership in a later segment on the show, which we're coming up to next, which is about the sort of the whole transfer window thus far, and obviously in the the third segment as well with regards Johan Lang. But there is still 5 weeks left of the window. Just because we're going on pre-season, loads of work gets done in the last couple of weeks. It's the same I remember so many times Tottenham fans losing their mind around January transfer windows. The big one that sticks out in my mind was the protests that were getting ready to go on for February the 1st, and then on deadline day we signed Kulusevski and Bentancur, and it kind of dampened the spirits. Obviously, that's a January window. It's a little bit different to the summer. Johnny, if we're moving away from Morgan Gibbs-White, do you want Tottenham's priority now to be to replace the alternative to Gibbs-White? To find someone else that can do whatever it was the role, whatever the club saw in Gibbs-White. As I said before, I don't think it's the solution to any of our major problems, although he is an improvement. But moving on from him, do we now pivot to get the alternative to him, or do we stop wasting time on an 8 and a 10 and go and get someone in the left wing? If Sonny's leaving, go and get someone at left back. If Udogi's injured, etc. What do you want to see the next logical move for the club in the window?
Next right player. Wherever it is, whether it's the 6, whether it's the left wing. I saw a disturbing quote tonight that Thomas Frank thought that Sonny had a lot to offer. I almost spat my tea out. Yeah, I mean, if I saw a 6 come in now, I'd be jumping up and down. If I saw another striker turn up, I'd be very happy. If I saw a left winger, I'd be very happy. If I saw a competitive left centre-back, I'd be very happy. And if I saw a creative midfielder, I'd be delighted. So the answer is yes to all of those questions. Yes, we should be going after all of these players. The thing is, as fans, we only have conjecture because we don't have anyone filling the space. We don't have anyone giving us the information. It's not like the board are coming out and saying, you know what, guys, we're in deep discussions. We're going to bring in this. We're going to bring in that. Like Mikel Arteta, who turned around in March and said, we are going to spend big. We're going to spend very big, and we're going for it. Unfortunately for Mikel Arteta, what he didn't know was that Liverpool were going to spend even bigger. But when you look at this club in general over the years, and you look at the crazy transfers that we've been involved with, you know, like the William deal, where everyone thought William was going to sign. He's been seen at the training ground. We lock him in the next minute, you know, he's jumped out the window and he's gone and signed for Chelsea. And then we had, what's his name? Di Maria. and Di Maria is going to, Di Maria is going to sign for Spurs, and then you hear that comment. It always hurts when you're doing your very best, and then you hear you might be going to Spurs, stuff like that. And then the Moutinho deal, when we were going to sign Moutinho, was it from Mourinho? And
no, Villas-Boas,
and the facts got screwed up, and the details on the facts weren't right. And then we did the Grealish bid, where we were going to sign him. We thought we could put in a cheeky bid for just a 3 or 4 million with Josh Onomar as the mate weight. And then one of the biggest ones was the Dybala deal, where we all got excited. We were going to sign Dybala, and we found out, we can't get his image rights. We couldn't agree a deal on his image rights. So this shouldn't really come as a surprise.
Johnny, you've missed out the best one. You missed out the best one.
Oh, there's so many, mate.
When we paid for William's medical.
Yeah, well, I said mention William.
And then he went round the corner to Chelsea and signed.
Yeah, I said that. That was the first one I said.
His agent went to Chelsea.
Johnny. The first one I said.
But his agent told Willian to stay in the grounds while he went to Chelsea and negotiated a deal.
Yeah, and he jumped out. Listen, he opted out the window. But my point here is that we don't seem to have learnt some of the lessons. Fool me once. Yeah. I just think that a professional club like we are, we should know over the period of 25 years some of the pitfalls and not make them again and again. So, but just to go quickly back to your argument, your question, yes, we should be signing players, but like you said, 5 weeks, there's plenty of time, and I'm not going to judge any of this crap, right, until the window closes. Then I will make my mind.
I'll judge it. But we've got a Super Cup in 3 weeks. We've got the league in. Why have we got to wait to the end of August for them?
Frank need another month
after that.
How do you know? Right, 2 days' time we might sign 2 players. Then what are you going to say? I don't know. I'm just saying.
You still say they should have been.
You said there's 5 weeks to go.
Earlier.
No.
Can we call it for what it is? To answer Sean's question, right? First and foremost, I think this team needs so much. Right? I think the fact that we're going on pre-season and the only left back in the squad is Ben Davis screams utter shit show, like a complete shambles of
the only left back.
Oh, hang on, Andu Doggy.
Doggy's not gone. He's injured.
He's injured.
Oh, sorry, on the tour. Sorry.
Yeah, on the tour.
Jed Spence.
So but Jed Spence is my point is, these bigger clubs don't do this. Who's going to fill in? These bigger clubs go, we need 2 there, 2 there, 2 there, 2. Right? We need, for me, a left back. We need a left winger. I think we need 2 midfielders, and I think we need a striker. And as Johnny said, I don't care what order it is that I wake up to them in, but we've got to move, and it shouldn't be one at a time. We should be acting like Chelsea. We should be acting like Arsenal. We should be acting like these clubs. And again, I'll caveat, because I know everyone won't listen to what I'm saying. I'm not talking about the same caliber those clubs can get, but I'm talking about the way they do it. That's what Tottenham should be doing. We should have plates spinning, speaking to this position, that position, this position. We are dreadful in the window, but I'll come to that in the next section. But right now, Sean, to answer your question, I don't care that there's 5 weeks of this transfer window left. Tottenham have got 16 days until we play PSG, right? And these 3 games against Arsenal, Bayern Munich, or Arsenal, Newcastle, Bayern Munich was an opportunity for us to take 3 or 4 new signings, first team players, get them in an 11, mould them, let them understand Frank, let them know their teammates, and then we go into the PSG game somewhat organised, right? So when people say to me, yeah, but the transfer window hasn't ended yet, why are all the big clubs organised? Why are they all organised, ready before pre-season? And we're sitting around here going, 1 new first-team player on the tour. It's embarrassing.
Just super quick, the main part of that answer, though, is for the next segment around what's going on with the summer.
Sure.
So just want to really round this off, guys, with Stell and with Lubo. Just quick answer was around Morgan Gibbs-White off. Is, in your mind, would you rather see us go and find a replacement for him if that was the next priority, or if that was just an opportunity, then would you rather see Tottenham go and get something else that's more of a priority? For example, as Sabas said, the fact that we only have one fit left back at the club and he's not a player that most people really want anymore. Would that be the priority as the pre-season tour is kicking off, and that should be handled next?
I think the priority is to bring in those 4 or 5 players that we so desperately need. Whichever order we get them, you never know what order you're going to, that the position you need, that player's going to come up in. But just go and do it and sort it and act like a proper club. You get Chelsea's and Liverpool's, they go in for a player. I know transfers can take weeks, like Mbuemo did with Brentford, and Gyökeres did with Arsenal. But by and large, you look at the way Chelsea do business, and they've got 4 top recruitment people that run their whole global recruitment business, because Bowley knows about sport. But I'll come on to that in the next thing. We need the players, Sean. Bottom line,
you're not fussed on the actual priority. Just somebody, because you only do one at a time, but you don't care. Just Tottenham get busy, basically. That's what you're.
They've got Anthony Robinson from Fulham. If they go and get Grealish on loan from City, whichever. If they go and get Polina from Bayern Munich, whichever way round, we need top players to come in just to catch up with Newcastle and Villa.
I don't think it's going to happen. Sean, this isn't going to happen. Honestly, this was my biggest worry about bringing in Frank. Not because he's a rubbish coach, no, because he's going to come in. I just said not because he's a rubbish coach, because this is why he was brought in. He was brought in because he will accept this and he will work under this restricted
the same
regime.
way Conte did, the same way Jose did, the same way
Conte blew the club up though with it. No, because Conte blew the club up with it. Frank is
at the end he did.
Let me make my point. Before you jump in, because you don't get around so easily.
Hang on, one at a time.
We are now falling into this space as a fan base. If anyone dares speak about Frank, it's like lighting dynamite in the fan base.
He's only been there 3 weeks.
Been in 2 weeks.
Yeah, but it's understanding why Frank and not another manager. And for me, and this is what I said at the time, my concern, and I will honestly, please prove me wrong, Tottenham. My concern is they brought in Frank because he can work, or has proven at other clubs, he works on a very restricted budget and that he can develop youngsters. And I think the reason they brought him in is because they think that Frank can get a tune out of this squad, and they are underestimating what this squad is desperately needing. It's more than a tune. And I think they brought him in because they think that they can effectively lowball it in the transfer window compared to what other clubs are going to do. And they think Frank will be able to manage the situation. I don't think leaving ENIC are going to change anything. This whole, I want to win the Premier League,
my question
I want to win the Champions League, it's PR.